individual at the Correctional Training Facility, Soledad, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
So, question one, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what your life was growing up as?
Could you rephrase repeat the last part of that question, the second part?
Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what your life was like growing up?
Oh, okay. So I'm from Monterey County, but previous to that, I've been around the world. I was born in Korea, and I lived a little bit in Europe and in a few different states until I came to America around 1989 to California.
Okay.
And life growing up was, it had its good and bad, just depending on what time in my life, Each time of my life, I went through different things, and it wasn't always bad, and it wasn't always good.
Yeah. Looking back on anything, like, did you have any signs or childhood trauma, or however you would put it, that would show that you were heading towards a different path, something now, the path that you're living now, or anything different?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Well, definitely there were signs, but I would say when you're going through it in the moment at that time as a young adolescent or a young kid, for myself, I'll just use the I statement. I wouldn't, if I looked back, I wouldn't always say I was able to recognize it. A lot of things are easier to see in retrospect, looking back. And so there was times that definitely there were signs. Just having been through certain trauma, certain situations, feelings of abandonment or shame. Feeling worthless. I remember a time when my mom's first husband just kind of left me hanging after I had went through an experience of child abuse, and I was left with my other parents. Well, let me back that up a little bit. I was in another country, and I was left there basically until I returned to my other parent, and so. There was little things like that I had went through as a young kid, and but I don't want to use those things as an excuse. One thing I realized today is, there's a lot of people that went through trauma. There's a lot of people that had difficult situations in their life, and they had a different path, But
Right.
That's part of my story. There's definitely signs, definitely things that I wish I had people around me that may have helped me deal with it better, But part of that is I take some responsibility because in our culture, being young and raised a certain way, you get raised not to really, no one teaches you to ask for help. No one teaches you to, you could trust everybody and go to seek help from other adults. It's kind of like a thing you want to. There's shame in it, right? Your family's supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be perfect, a strong boy, and so that's just one example. I mean, there was a ton of it, but I'm pretty sure that would be like a whole other 3 or 4 conversations about. So yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, it kind of takes us into our next question. What's your mindset like being incarcerated, and how has it changed over time?
So coming into the prison system, I was very young. I was incarcerated initially when I was 17, And today I'm 45 years old. So coming in, I was sentenced to life without parole, and uh, I don't think
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
anybody would be shocked to hear that that's would be very difficult for any teenager to just you wake up one day and realize one what you have done and the harm you have caused, not just to other people but to your own self and your own family, and two that you're going to die in prison. And so I think for any young person, it's shocking. It's a feeling of hopelessness. It's it's one of the most worst feelings in the world. Um, but at the same time, uh, part of the change, and I know we're going to get into that, but part of the change was for me is I don't look at myself as a victim. You know, for as much as suffering as I feel like that may have caused, there's a suffering that I caused others. So it's humbling, and that's what I build upon as far as like my empathy and my compassion, you know, and that's part of my change as well. You know, being a young person, we're very impulsive. We don't think about the consequences, and you know, it's hard to talk about yourself in a negative light, but part of the change is confronting that. And you know, was I selfish? Was I like a cold person at times? And so, just looking at it that way, you know, part of my change was looking at myself, and I think that's the biggest thing. What are those traumas? The question you asked me before is part of the process. Is actually taking a look back at our lives. And for me, that was big. And just becoming a more responsible person today, a compassionate, empathetic, understanding person. Um, you know, I value life, not just my own, but others as well. My community, my family. Um, I strive to be a better person and to live my amends every day. And living amends, for those that don't know, is just like whoever I've harmed in my past today, I want to make sure I don't make those same mistakes, and I want to make sure I'm doing things that are the opposite of that. You know, whether that's you know, something simple as listening to somebody's problems, giving somebody a soup because they're hungry, participating in certain programs, and just staying out of trouble. You know, just living a different life, and uh, that's part of who I am today. And you know, I have a lot of a lot of remorse. You know, and usually you would say the person's names that you harmed. You know, you wanna they're not an object. They're not a just a story. They're people. You know, and but the reason I don't today is out of respect. You know, out of respect for people's privacy. But yeah, that's part of my change. And there's more to it, but I'll leave it to you to ask what you want to ask.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like you moved around a lot. So do you feel that like it was hard to have stability, what led you down to a different path because you were moving around a lot?
Definitely. I think that it's easy for some people maybe to say, well, you know, you could have did this and that, but they gotta, you know, sometimes even myself, I can't be hard on myself when I'm looking back now. It's like I have to have some compassion and understanding that I was a kid. So
Right.
if I'm in another country or if I'm going through certain neighborhoods
You have 60 seconds remaining.
that are influencing me or causing me to think a certain way, um, it may not be in my mind at that time that, oh, let me get myself out of the situation, because I don't realize uh, what's going to happen next. I don't realize where it's leading to, you know, what it's doing to me. So and the choices I would make later. So
Right. Okay, so it's gonna end. So can you give a call back?
yeah.
Does a typical day look like for you? You know, earlier we did have a conversation. you mentioned about you working out and stuff like that. So, if you want to share a little bit what a typical day looks like for you now.
Oh, so today a typical day for me is I wake up early. I'll say my little prayers or do my little meditation, my little quiet time. Sometimes I study. Just it helps me get grounded, get my day started on the right track. Trying to stay positive, and it's part of practicing my steps as well. Doing my inventory, and then I get ready to go out. If I don't go to breakfast, I'll go out early and just exercise. It's for self care, and it's just something I love to do. I mean, you remember when we knew each other back then, and I just love exercising. So I'll do that. I'll come back, shower, maybe do some more studying. Then I'll get ready for work, and so I go to work for so many hours, do my job there, and afterwards come back, and by then it's night, so it's kind of time to unwind. Unless I'm going to a class, sometimes I'll go to a self-help group or something, and on certain nights, and that's pretty much my day. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too extravagant. It's pretty much a simple schedule. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Here, I have another question. What are some misconceptions?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I want to ask, what are some misconceptions people have about prison life that you wish they understood?
Well, I mean, one of the misperceptions I think, and I think a lot of people, even I think people that ended up in prison may have had at one point is, that everybody's like these really bad criminals, and it's just everybody's dangerous. It's a dangerous place, and maybe at one point in time, way back in the day, maybe it could fall into that description at times, but today what prison looks like is very different, and what I would like people to know is, if they were to ask me, was there's a lot of people that are programming or trying to better themselves. There's a lot of people that are actually positive people just trying to uh, live a decent life and go home. And they have to live in these places and deal with whatever their set of situations are, circumstances, but they're still striving to be better people. And so I think that's a misconception sometimes, that just maybe everybody's in here that is just up to no good, and that's just not the case. I mean, you and I were cellies before. You know kind of how I am. We're not all in here just like politicking all day or looking for trouble. Like I shared my typical day. That sounds like a pretty much boring day. It sounds like someone out there, maybe a neighbor, right? I'm just going to work and coming home, and that's pretty much my day. So yeah, definitely. Like, there's a lot of people that just want to do good and want to get home, and I think if more people kind of realize that, and maybe knew some of the different struggles that they probably don't understand, maybe there'd be some more people trying to help and support those that are trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. Okay, I have another question. Was there a moment